that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
He decides on revolution early.
Actually, I got a good one for you though. When Itachi shows up to face off Kabuto, Kabuto clasps his hands together and brings out father and mother to fight Itachi. And he's laughing. He's like, "So Itachi, do you want to slay your family again?" or something like that.
That could be a really interesting parallel to the sorcery fight.
Yeah,
Shio
dude,
bringing
that's what
out
I'm
the
saying.
parents.
That's actually kind of what I came up with it. So like,
That's good,
you know,
dude.
and Kabuto would
I
do
love
something
that.
like that. That's exactly what he does with his other Edo Tensei. And so maybe he had it for a different reason. Just like going with the flow, whatever. He's adapting to the situation. It's like, huh, I have an idea. I'll make Itachi do this. And then Sasuke has to watch it happen again. And he's like, so Sasuke, are you gonna watch Itachi slay your parents again? Or are you gonna side with me?
Oh,
Like, think about it.
Not
I like
only
that, I'm not gonna lie.
not only does this obviously work as a parallel from beginning to end of story, but this is also done to a character that at this point we know and care about. Not to say Sasori isn't dope and cool and stuff, but like for the first time watching, when it happens to Sasori, when Chio pulls out Sasori's parents, we don't care about Sasori to the same extent that we would someone like Sasuke. Obviously, that's not someone we know yet, let alone it's a bad guy. It's the antagonist, it's the villain that killed Gaara. So at that point, we don't really care. This is like, not only works because we care about Sasuke, so seeing this would hit us in the gut, just emotional thematic resonance right there. But then it's also backwards compatible with Sasori as well. We're now going to look back onto that scene and care because now we get it. Now we understand how Sasori feels. We can relate to him based on how we know Sasuke feels. Making
And
Sasori even better.
Itachi, of course, in this case.
Yeah, who cares about him?
Both Sasuke and Itachi. Huh?
Nothing.
I heard you, but I mean, I think the Naruto 99 makes it different.
Bro had to slip that in.
Okay. But Move, what do you think about that? The backwards compatibility. Do you think that like these two fights would be backwards compatible?
As opposed to forwards compatible.
Because it is the next generation.
Yes, they will be compatible. Yeah, another change to the story would be like Kurama doesn't turn good. Like Naruto becomes like he keeps getting like taken over by Kurama and doing bad, and it becomes like the Momoshiki plot line where they decide like, oh, does Naruto have to be stopped because he has Kurama in him or not?
Well, before diving into that, just real quick, would you consider this Itachi family versus Sasori family thing to be forwards or backwards compatible?
Because you did specify you agree it's compatible, but do you think it's forwards compatible or backwards compatible in particular? Since it is compatible.
Like it would go like Sasori to the Sasuke one later, and then it would be like, yeah, that's the backwards compatible with that same
backwards
situation.
Would be Itachi back to Sasori, whereas forward to be Sasori to Itachi. So which
Yes,
would you take?
Sasori to Itachi, yeah.
Okay, so you pick forward.
Okay, so that is like a very straight line compatibility as well, as opposed to where it's curvy. I definitely think that's very interesting to include that aspect.
We could also argue for it to be circular compatible.
That's true, considering circular storytelling.
But then it adds on by going back.
But I wouldn't want to make a circular argument either.
Which, yeah. Well, it's not a circular argument, it's circular compatibility.
Based on the storytelling, you're right, yeah. And it would have a round character archetype as well, to have that growth as opposed to like the flat archetype, which, you know, comparing that like to the stagnant character, I think it very much so works as they're not very dynamic either. So I think the round character type would work for this round compatibility.
Yeah, because Sasuke is a dynamic character rather than a flat character, so he's the perfect person to use for circular compatibility.
Exactly, and then Itachi's there to be a supporting character, which as we know are supposed to be the more straight line characters anyways, so I think that works to be backwards compatible with this round compatibility.
Yeah, I agree. Makes perfect sense to me.
Alright. So, moving on from that move, I was really curious your thoughts on...
Pun intended.
Hello? What?
Moving on, move. No pun intended.
Okay.
See what you did there?
So moving to something. God dang it! I didn't mean to do it. Kamui, you broke me.
The rest of the night, thinking about it.
You know what? You take it away. I can't.
You're gonna tell someone to move, and you're gonna be looking left, right. Is he there?
Okay, I got it. All right, so
But go ahead.
Shikamaru is a really interesting character in the Naruto franchise. Move, do you like Shikamaru as a character? His like whole story arc and everything with that?
He was a background character after part 1, mostly. Like after the Suma thing.
Okay, that's fine. I think we can
But what
actually
about during
convince
the
you
Asuma arc?
to like his character. And J-Man, feel free to jump in with this one. Since I think, J-Man, I think you have
Alright.
something to say on this as well. But I think it was really interesting what they did with Shikamaru's character when he killed Asuma through smoking. I think that was definitely an interesting route to take his character because of all the growth it led to and his fight with Hidan.
Exactly, and specifically, it's the second-hand aspect of it, where he killed off Smoke. We did talk about this once before with Immortal in pretty good depth, but I'd be more than happy to go through this whole thing all over again. It was a very good topic. It really puts insight into Shikamaru's character when you consider the second-handness of his smoking.
Exactly, because it was clouding his judgment at the time, which becomes more clear in Boruto,
Right, that was
especially with the
clear, like, the
anime
clouded
censorship,
judgment.
to where Amado isn't smoking, but instead he's drinking the tea. So I think the symbol of the cigarettes was very important to change for the anime censorship for that reason. Considering Shikamaru's dynamic and in opposition with Amado, especially. Being that antagonistic force of nature, basically. But Move, what do you think about that?
Exactly.
Yeah, like Shikamaru, using his IQ to beat Hidan was cool, but Shikamaru became like a lot of the characters in the show just relied on Naruto and didn't do anything else after besides that.
Well, what do you think about the scene when Shikamaru kills Asuma through secondhand smoke
You know, the scene where Asuma
with a final
dies.
cigarette?
Yeah, where Shikamaru takes out that cigarette to start smoking through Asuma.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was good. A good to end the plot line between the teacher and student.
I completely agree. In fact, I think it's very symbolic of like the passing of the torch, considering a cigarette is like a torch when you light it. It's just like a sideways torch in this case. So like lighting the cigarette for Asuma is passing it to the next generation so that, Shikamaru can be the king in this case.
Yeah, it's letting the previous generation like be done.
Exactly. By killing the
So it's just,
previous
like, letting
king.
him let go.
It's really similar to what they did with Kakashi and Obito, except obviously there was no physical passing of the torch like there is through Asuma. There's less subtlety there, where they do tell rather than show, to where Kakashi's saying he's going to kill the current Obito to support the current Naruto, or what, the line. Kamui, I always misquote this, but I don't mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna protect the current. I'm going to protect the old Obito and the current Naruto by killing the current Obito.
Exactly. So that's what Shikamaru was doing with Asuma there.
Right.
Yeah.
He was protecting the next generation Mirai by letting Asuma have his final cigarette and killing him
And
with
killing him.
secondhand smoke. And he
Yeah.
realizes his clouded judgment later on, and he uses the same cigarette to kill Hidan to basically finish Asuma's story for him, which is really nice. Where it gets interesting though is the Boruto area, where Shikamaru Shikadir's judgment is so clouded by all that smoke.
Yeah. Do you think Shikamaru's gonna try and secondhand smoke kill Amado?
That could be an interesting
Well, I was
parallel
wondering if
to when he
Amato with
killed
secondhand smoke
Asuma
kill Shikamaru.
through the secondhand smoke. I think they definitely could go that route, but I'd be looking more towards if Shikadai is the one who killed Shikamaru through giving him a cigarette and the secondhand smoke thereof. Move, how would you see that scene playing
Well,
out?
yes, but I could also see Amato doing it as a villainous act to Shikamaru.
That's
maybe
true.
like Shikadai does the final one, but like Asuma. So like hypothetically, maybe Asuma ignites the death with first hand smoke, and then Shikadai kills Shikamaru to finish the scene through second hand smoke, something like that.
Yeah, if he ignites it, like he sparks it into motion. Move, what do you think about that?
I don't think that would happen because Amato's future Kawaki, and he's too smart for that. He's like a really changed Kawaki, and like Amato says the same snarky comments that Kawaki does. So I think that's gonna be a good plot twist reveal in the future when it shows Amato's future Kawaki.
That's true.
Yeah.
You also have the Will of Fire, which Shikamaru seems to be either holding extremely strong or extremely low right now. It's especially interesting. He could be transferring that fire into his cigarettes, which again is clouding his judgment. It's also possible that, like the flame of life of the next generation, it's being carried on and being taken away, passing torch away from Shikamaru towards the next generation, which is getting a lot more of the spotlight. Again, ironic that they're using spotlights to spotlight the characters in this case, because spotlights are almost like fire, just like the secondhand smoke. Which, that's like Asuma's signature jutsu, is like that smoke bomb, which, was passed down from Hiruzen to Konohamaru. So it's possible Konohamaru could also adopt the secondhand smoke. If he did, who do you think Konohamaru would kill with his secondhand smoke abilities?
Walky copy.
That's true, because he is a target. So I could see Konohamaru killing Matsuri through secondhand smoke, and that'd be very symbolic, because it's a jutsu passed down, which even killed his previous predecessors. So it's a jutsu that it's like a sacrificial jutsu passed down to the successors to have the chance of humanity carrying on through the king. So Konohamaru needs to have a child to pass on the secondhand smoke to, so that Konohamaru can kill himself through secondhand smoke to take out Matsuri.
Yeah, wouldn't that be considered third-hand smoke, though?
Well, that's true, but I would kind of see it, at least symbolically, to be more like first-hand smoke. Move, which do you think it is? Do you think it's more like the physical aspect to where it would be like third-hand smoke, or would it be more like first-hand smoke if Konohamaru used it on himself? So symbolically or physically?
First-hand smoke.
First-hand smoke? Okay, let's go. I freaking told you, J-Man. Let's go.
God damn.
All right. And as we know, smoking is very
Just gonna kill
dirty,
off
so it's very
Konohamaru
clear that it would
before he
lead to
becomes
death,
Hokage.
as to
Well, no,
opposed to something
Shikadai
like
killing
Ki, which is more
Konohamaru.
healthy, which leads to more like a brighter future. And Amado seems to be more like a good guy as time goes on, so it kind of makes sense in that regard as well. But if we want to move on to another topic, unless someone else had more to say on this, Kamui?
Just gonna kill off Konohamaru before he becomes Hokage.
Shikadai will kill Konohamaru.
No, I guess Kamui's gone. All right, so J-Man, did you have another topic you want to do? No, hey Kamui.
A topic?
This man's always
Yeah, something along the lines of
No,
this.
I don't have a topic at the moment.
Okay. Kamui,
What about Hay Station?
hey Sis. Yeah, I got one. All right. So we could go over like the bond between Naruto and Kurama, since I feel like that's going to come up very soon in the future. We got Kurama coming back. We probably are going to get Naruto coming back in the future. So it could be a fun way to talk about it, just to sort of remind ourselves. Since it's been a long time, we might have forgot like the brotherly bond between Naruto and Kurama. So it could be a good refresher just to go back over the bond and the history there.
Yeah, I mean, like when you think about it, like Naruto. I mean, we've been talking about Naruto and Himawari's whiskers for God knows how long.
Yeah,
I know. No one likes to talk about it from the genetic aspect, but instead of genetics, let's think about it more like symbolically speaking, I feel like is the way to go about it. It's so obviously Naruto has whiskers, and in the Naruto universe, there is a nine-tailed fox, and what do foxes have? Whiskers. So, oh, I gotta grab my charger. Shit, my phone's gonna die.
Oh god. Okay.
Shit.
Well, like Kamui's saying, it's very clear that there is like a very symbolic nature between Kurama and Naruto. As we know, they're like blood brothers. And as we know, there's genetics in blood. So I think it's very clear that Kurama and Naruto, again, going back to the bond, as we all know, they are brothers. So again, coming back to the fact that they have the same parent through Minato, the fact that Kurama killed Minato, whereas Naruto's continuing on Minato's legacy, I feel like is very also important for remembering that, especially going forward with Boruto, because Naruto tried to save Boruto from ending his own life. It's almost like the inverse of that, you know, just carrying on that family tradition that Kurama's in this Uzumaki lineage. So I definitely think it's very interesting that rather than the Nine Tails going to Boruto, who tried to end his own life, just like how Kurama tried to end Minato, and like Kurama lied about ending Naruto's, it's very interesting that he goes to Himawari instead. But with that idea, with Naruto and Kurama being brothers, how do you think that ties into it, Move?
I think that Kurama was used as like used for his power before and really had no connection to the other Jinchuriki, and then Naruto had more of the connection and when learn KCM and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely will reconnect when Naruto gets out. Yep. But also if Himawari gets treed, then that would stop that reconnection.
Okay. I think that's definitely important, just keeping in mind that Naruto and Kurama come from the same family. And it makes sense considering how they act. Like, they are like rivalry, like brothers would be as well, like the big brother to the small brother, or little brother, I guess I should say, obviously. Since we know how old Kurama is, he's like 1,000 years old at this point, and Naruto's only like 30. At the time, he was like 10, and as a baby, he was like 0. So like, it makes sense that like he was treating him like his little brother, considering like they were. But I think that bond there is very important going forward. So how would you think about it in that way, continuing from that?
Yeah, I would say that when Naruto gets out, the village is gonna be really destroyed and stuff. Like he's really gonna be like dampered about like how he's done as Hokage and stuff. And like if Himawari is treed, or let's say she's not treed, then Kurama will be able to motivate Naruto to pick back up from that.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to add on this current topic?
No, not really.
J-Man?
Nothing I can think of.
Nope, no, nothing.
Okay. Yeah, Kamui, I'm guessing you're mute for a reason, so all right. I was thinking about something earlier. So since we saw the translations with Jura, come back to like a serious note with Jura rather than like all those goofy notes from earlier. Kamui was pulling up the translations, and he made up a good point based on the like, there was some like a Japanese person in a server that was translating Jura's name, and he brought up a really interesting idea. So as we saw, and in fact we got the translations, we know that in Japanese, Jura translates to 10 demons. And that makes sense considering like the 10 tails is called the Jubi, Jura, J-U, Jubi, J-U. It's like 10 tails, 10 demons. That makes sense. So with that being said, with Jura's name meaning 10 demons, I was thinking about it. Ever since I saw that a few hours ago at this point, do you think, based on that name, do you think it's possible that Jura has a connection to the Ten Tails in some kind of way? based on his name? What do you think?
Especially when you consider that the Ten Tails has 10 tails.
That's a good
and,
point.
You know, it kind of gives up demonic vibes like a demon.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like
Demonic
I mean,
vibe, too.
based off the meaning of his name,
Just like a demon.
I feel like, yeah, it's got to be a connection.
Moo, what do you think about that?
That's a stretch.
Do you think that's a good theory, or it's probably not based on the name that we'd go with? That's a little bit of a stretch.
It could.
But
It could be Kaguya coming back in Boruto, because you know she came with Ishiki, and she also like halved Ishiki, so her essence could be in Ishiki, in the 10 tails he brought.
Do you think that because of the name, 10 Demon?
Yes, because Kaguya is the 10 tails.
it's an
And
interesting
she
theory.
was kind of like she was revered as a demon. Actually, he's got a good point.
Well, that being said, I don't want to use names in Naruto to be taken literally, because, you know, like, names in real life aren't taken literally. Like, if someone's named Hope, that doesn't necessarily mean that has to do with the concept of hope. So, for example, in Naruto, Hashirama translates to first pillar. As we know, Hashirama has nothing to do with pillars. He was the Hokage. That doesn't have anything to do with pillars at all. And so, taking it to Jura, 10 demons, it could just be a name rather than anything else. It might not mean anything else. It's possible. Like, I don't want to make the stretch to say it's confirmed based on the name that Jura has something to do with the Ten Tails, but it's possible that he might have something to do with the Ten Tails. Possible.
Based on the name, yeah.
Yeah. Move, what do you think? Is, like, out of 10, how likely do you think it is that Jura has something to do with the Ten Tails?
Yeah, very likely, because, you know, after Code made the 10 tails Grimes with then Yor and the rest came out, so definitely related to the tailed beast, you know, that Ashiki gave to Code. Yeah, and it's gonna be like a Otsutsuki 10 tails fusion thing that will come in the future. Could also be related to Shibai.
Yeah, I think I would have the same answer. Out of 10, my answer, I would say it's also very likely as well. Kamui, out of 10, where would you rank it? This theory.
Kaguya or the Ten Tails for this?
The Ten Tails relating back to Jura. Out of 10, how likely?
Oh, I mean, like obviously you
extremely
gotta
likely,
like keep in mind that
maybe
like
a little likely.
you know, likely, you know, 30% is likely, but that doesn't mean it's like a 90% chance. So I mean, like, we gotta be realistic here. Jura being connected to the Ten Tails, well, I think it's definitely possible based off the name. I mean, probably only like a 20% chance. Far more likely that it's Kaguya, based off what Move said.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, so J-Man, now it comes to you. So out of 10, me and Move said that it's very likely, and Kamui out of 10 said it's a 20% chance. So how likely out of 10 do you think, J-Man, that it is that the Ten Tails has something to do with Jura?
Like something to do with Jura, the 10 tails.
Out of 10, yeah.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's really hard to go from 1 to 10, but maybe like a 2 out of 10 chance that it has any connection with the 10 tails.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just not convinced.
I said 2 as well.
Yeah. Well, you said 20%.
But, you know,
But
well, that's 2 out of 10.
well, it's 20%. Though.
Yeah, it's like 20%.
You're ignoring the percent part of it. That changes your answer
Yeah,
from
I was saying 20%.
Well, but you're changing your answer from a ratio to a percentage, which is fundamentally different.
Oodie, a percent is a ratio. It's
But
20
not
out of
all
100.
ratios are percents.
Yeah, because the percent is just percent is just the ratio converted to a certain scaling out of 100.
Exactly. That's why they have the symbol for percent. You don't include percents on ratios.
But a percent is a ratio. The percent is
But
a
you don't
type of a
include
specific.
it on ratios.
Unless it's out of 100. You can if it's out of 100.
I've
Actually, can
never
I
heard
change my
anyone say
answer?
20% out of 100. You could say 20% out of 100%.
Nobody says out of 100. The percent is the out of 100.
But no, again, it wouldn't be out of 100. It'd be out of 100%. You can't just ignore 1% of the percents.
No, what? No, hold on. 20% isn't 20 out of 100%. It's 20 out of 100.
Yeah, 20% out of 100%, or 20 out of 100. You can never have 20% out of 100. That's not how that works.
Yeah, I know. The percent is just the replacement for out of 100. It's just that it is out of 100. You're just saying it instead.
Exactly.
So when I said 20%, it is equivalent to 2 out of 10.
Okay, I'm glad you agree.
That's what I've been saying since the beginning. I don't know why you argue. Anyway, kind of slightly related to this as we're talking about Jiraiya, the Shinju, and Ten Tails, because I was actually thinking about this, especially in. I wish Free Game was still here for this, but in light of the whole Otsutsuki essence thing. So I've been thinking about it. Like we know that the white karma seal is a lump of Otsutsuki essence. So. I was thinking earlier, especially after last night watching that video, what if that's why the Ten Tails is evolving into a god tree?
I definitely think
What do you think?
that has to do with the karma seal. If I were to
Do you think it's
elaborate.
the karma seal relating back to the Otsutsuki? Or do you think it would be like Otsutsuki, then karma?
Oh, it's definitely the karma seal relating back to the Otsutsuki. Definitely.
Okay, can you elaborate? And especially for why that's why the Ten Tails is evolving into a god tree?
Absolutely. So as we know, the Shinju come from the god tree, which is the Ten Tails, which is Kaguya, which is that one, but these are juvenile. So it only makes sense based on the chicken and the egg that the juveniles come later, whereas the god tree, which has always been here because it's Kaguya, it's thousands of years old. So therefore the Shinju, which are also new, they've been born, which is going back to the reincarnation cycle, which proves that through the chicken and the egg, that it has to be the Otsutsuki, which are actually coming from the karma seal relating back to the Otsutsuki, which is how you pass on your essence, which is how, via chicken and the egg, that you pass on going to the next body. This is how Jigen became Ishiki, so it only makes sense that the Otsutsuki are the ones that came from the karma seal relating back to the Otsutsuki.
Yeah, but I feel like you're looking at it from the chicken or the egg standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's called
Because it's not egg or the chicken. That doesn't make sense. It has to be chicken or the egg. Because saying it's the karma, saying it's the Otsutsuki relating back to the karma seal doesn't make sense logistically wise. Like thinking about it, it's just the cause and effect. You can't have the karma seal if you don't have the Otsutsuki in the first place. Therefore, it has to be the karma seal relating back to the Otsutsuki, because without the Otsutsuki, there wouldn't be a karma seal in the first place. But if there was a karma seal, that means there has to be an Otsutsuki to create that karma seal. Move, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree that it's the Otsutsuki's the main part.
Exactly.
Exactly. He's saying it's a Otsutsuki back to the karma. So the problem is, Oodie, you're looking at it like chicken or the egg when you should be.
Hello? Oh, shoot. God. You're perfectly wrong time. No way. No way. Bro. Please. Wi-Fi. Please. Stream noted. Connect. You're literally connected. Wi-Fi.